getting to be, this is getting to be, this is getting to be out of control. I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, and I know. I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, and I Daddy's gonna get it again no more. 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 Daddy's gonna get it again. This is getting to be, this is getting to be, this is getting to be out of control. I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, and I know. I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, and I Daddy's gonna get it again no more. 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 Daddy's gonna get it again. Enough! Got control! Cross! Yeah! Daddy's gonna get it again no more. 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 Daddy's gonna get it again no more.
Subreddit Surfing with Vinnie and Cardiff. Subreddit Surfing with Vinnie and Cardiff. Surfing subreddits, interviewing creeps on the internet.
Cowabunga, creepos. Welcome to Subreddit Surfing. I'm your host. My name is Vinny, and joining me as always, it's my best spud, Cardiff Electric. How you doing tonight, Cardiff?
Surf's up.
Glad to have you here tonight. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this is the show where we surf a random subreddit page. We have placed a StreamYard invitation for any Redditors on that page to join us right now live on the show to discuss that subreddit's topic. Cardiff, tell the people what we're talking about tonight.
Oh, I didn't mean to put that up just right away, but yeah, tonight we are looking at the Antiwork subreddit. This is, hold on, let me get us back there. This is a subreddit with over 2.4 million members. This is a big one. This is a big one.
Now, when you hear the term anti-work, I feel like that's kind of a knee-jerk, meant to invoke a reaction to people hearing it. Like anti-work, what exactly does that mean? We're going to find out tonight because we have some folks from the subreddit ready to jump on the show to discuss it with us. Now,
yes, we do.
Cardiff and I both have looked at this page this week, and we haven't really discussed it much, but from what I can tell, this page seems to be a mixture of folks who are upset with the very concept of working for other people, as well as folks that are really mad at their bosses.
There's definite mix. There's a lot of anti corporation talk in there. There's a lot of I just don't want to work. I
Yeah.
just feel like I should be paid to sit at home. And again, there are people who are quite obviously being mistreated in their job, and this
Sure.
is where they go to, to rant about it. Now, how do you feel about work, Vinny? Do you enjoy your job?
I
Other
love
than
my
this,
job.
of course.
I love my job.
Oh,
I've never complained about my job because honestly, I work in the greatest comedy club in the world.
at
We
least
don't
in
have
Rochester.
Well, we don't have the history compared to some of the great clubs like the Comedy Store or the great store. Wow, I'm just having a problem today. We don't have
Stellar.
the history that a lot of them do. But you know what we do have, Cardiff?
What do you have?
At
here?
Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester, New York, we have the heart. We got the heart.
Comedy club with heart.
We love what we do. So I really do like my job. I can't complain, but I can relate to the fact that I've had jobs that I have very much not liked. What's the worst job you ever worked, Cardiff?
I would say in a grocery store. That was shit work. That was
Okay.
really shit work. That was backbreaking. That was exhausting. That was long hours. But so you said you love your job. If you had the option to not go to work and have the same lifestyle you have today, would you go to work?
I don't think if you could have the same lifestyle, if you're generally happy with your lifestyle, that anyone would choose to go to work. Unless unless you have a really piss poor lifestyle and you feel like work is the only way to dig yourself out of it.
I don't know. I've always been envious, at least, of people that seem to actually love what they do and seem to want to go to work every day or 5 days a week, whatever it is. Like there are some people I've encountered in my life, and maybe you have too, that probably would answer that question. Yeah, I would still get up and go to work every day.
Well, you put a caveat on the question. If I could still have the lifestyle I have now and I really didn't have to, there's part of me that says stay home. But you know what? Here's what would happen. My life, I would find things to do. I don't believe I could just sit there and be a couch potato, no pun intended, sir.
Hey.
All right.
No, like you always hear the people who won, $5 million in the lottery. I mean, I would be done. I wouldn't go to work. And if I had $5 million that I won the lottery, I'd be done. You wouldn't catch me getting up and going to work. But there's some people that they have a job that they love doing, that even with the fight, they would still get up. That's their social life. That's what they enjoy. That's what they like their customers or their coworkers, whatever it is.
I don't particularly care for people who look at their job as their social life. I'm not a big fan of that.
Fair enough.
Who likes the person who comes and visits their friends at work on their day off? That's just weird.
That is weird.
I'm just saying. All right.
Never done that.
Yeah, why would you? Why would anybody?
Actually, no, I did once. I did once. I dated a girl that I worked with, so I did go and see her when I wasn't working, but
there's a relationship. It's a little different. So
trying to,
Cardiff, you sly potato. Hot potato coming through, kids.
Probably watching right now.
So, folks, those of you who are watching, let's. What do you say we're going to get your opinions on this subreddit later. We're also going to talk to you about maybe the jobs that you hated, and maybe we could relate some war stories there. So stick around, all of those who are watching. We might have some of you on there on the show in a little bit. Now, Cardiff, do you want to introduce our guest tonight?
Before we do that, I would like to read the intro. This Antiwork subreddit does have a very nice FAQ page, and they surmise the subreddit like this. So Antiwork is a subreddit for those who want to end work, are curious about ending work, want to get the most out of a work-free life, want more information on anti-work ideas, and want personal help with their own job work-related struggles. So again, I think that last part is, what we've seen with people with shitty bosses and shitty coworkers and kind of venting about that. But it's the work-free life I'm interested in, because if I could do that, I'm in.
Well, this is like a philosophy, and it seems to me like some of these folks, one of the questions is, are you communists? Is on the facts page. And they said some of us are anarchists, some of us are communists, some of us aren't. So I feel like there's a lot of different people under this umbrella that want to end their concept of what work is. And I guess I want to find out tonight what their concept of work is, because it seems different than what mine is. I feel like maybe I'm in a vicious circle that they're talking about, and I don't even understand it yet.
You're in a workplace that you get to have toys behind you.
Yeah.
So you're not the typical member of the subreddit, I don't think. Go Spidey. So should we bring on our guest?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's welcome to the show our guest, Big Ol Bennie. Hello, Big
Hi
Ol
there.
Bennie.
Yes. Hello. How are you guys today?
Good evening, Benny.
I'm
Thanks for
actually
joining
kind of
us.
excited. Like, I've been like sitting here and I'm just like waiting for my moment to talk. So,
Okay.
You got excited the fact you could talk to two potatoes tonight.
hey, it's better than like what I normally do, which is kind of just sit in front of my computer and wonder what people are thinking.
Okay. Well, Benny, can you tell us a little bit about yourself if you'd like to?
Sure. Well, my name's Ben. Or you can call me Benny or Ben. I prefer Ben. It's a little bit easier, but
got it.
online I've just kind of developed Benny, Big Ol Bennie as my persona. It's like more of a nickname than anything else. But I do have a YouTube channel and I've made some content on it recently, and a lot of it is just like me just kind of putting some ideas out there and not really getting a whole lot of attention. So I was also kind of hoping, maybe I can get some exposure and people can see what I'm doing. But like some of the things that I've covered on my channel were like I don't know if anybody remembers last year, but there was like a huge hub about Mars and how they got caught using child slave labor to grow the cocoa that they use for their
The
their
candy
chocolates.
company, Mars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
At
Mars.
first I thought we were on last week's episode and we were talking about the planet. Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the chocolate company. And the thing is like now the latest controversy that Mars has gotten themselves embroiled with is the all female bag of M&M candies. Like the thing is like the right wingers will just sit there and shit their pants about women being represented in chocolate candy, and it's just like, what kind of clown world are we living in? But that's that's a whole other thing. Like as far as work goes, I've been kind of radicalized by having a lot of really shitty jobs, and I also like to think of myself as like, because I've had that experience with a lot of shitty jobs, that I can kind of contribute to the anti-work subreddit in a way that people can kind of learn from how I've handled a lot of really shitty situations.
Okay. You used an interesting word there. You said that you were radicalized, so to speak, by working a bunch of shitty jobs. What kind of jobs are we talking here? What awful stuff do they have you doing?
Cardiff said that he worked in a grocery store, and a lot of my adult working life has been in retail. So I've had a lot of really shitty experiences working.
Retail do that to people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it really will. And like the thing is my first job that I had out of high school, I worked as a security officer, and I think my first week that I was working, I think I worked over 100 hours. And
Who
that
hires
wasn't-
a kid out of high school to be a security officer?
Well, you see, the girl I was dating at the time, her dad was a manager, so I kind of got myself in through that way. And like basically, the company, they paid for my license, and I just kind of showed up and started working. And the thing is like, this was back in like 2009, 2010. So gas was like $4 a gallon, and I was driving a really shitty pickup truck that got like maybe 15 miles to the gallon, and I was
Okay.
driving like 45 miles every day to get to work. So I was kind of like in a situation where I was constantly working, but then by the time I got done with work, it took more time for me to get home, to go to sleep, and then wake up and immediately do it all over again. So
Sure.
I was kind of like stuck in a perpetual cycle of just like existing and hating everything and including myself. And
Okay.
like my diet became shit, my attitude became shit, my life became shit. Everything just kind of fell apart to the point where I had a mental breakdown at work and I got fired. And then I spent 10 years on my parents' couch because despite my best efforts, I couldn't find a job until about 2014. And
So hold on a second. How many years did you spend working as a security guard there?
I was there for like 2.5 years.
Okay.
I worked at a mental health hospital, and I had some very interesting experiences doing that. But um, I also learned a lot. I learned that people aren't your friends, and that yeah, working 16 hours a day and trying to drive an hour home doesn't really work. I used to be so exhausted that I would like black out while driving home, and my boss, who was my girlfriend at the time, her dad, you know what he was telling me? Oh, just drink some coffee, you'll be fine.
Well, Benny, let me ask you this question. Were you living in a place where you were so far away from everything just because that's where you lived? Or were you that far away from that job is because that just happened to be the job where it was when you were offered it? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, I
were there
lived
things
in.
closer you could have done?
There were things that were closer, but the things that were closer didn't pay nearly as much as what that job at that time was paying. So, like,
Yeah.
to give you an idea, my first job, well, like, I don't really consider it a job. It was just something that I was doing. I worked at a grocery store that was like, they hired me at $7.25 an hour.
Benny,
So,
my first job was in a grocery store too. You know what they paid me?
what?
$5.15.
5.15. Okay.
$5.15 was minimum wage.
So, what year was that? That was back in the 80s?
No. Oh man.
1977.
Back when I was born in the 40s. It was actually probably like 1997, 1998 we're talking about here.
Really? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's probably before all the inflation and other things that eroded away the dollar's buying power. But
Oh, certainly.
again,
After 9/11, the whole world changed.
yeah, basically, like the thing about 9/11 is like they were about to release a report that would tell everybody that wages were kind of waning and stagnating, and then 9/11 happened, and everyone kind of just ignored that whole part of the report, and
Yeah.
because America.
Fuck,
But
terrorism will do that, won't it?
yeah, I mean, I remember when 9/11 happened, I was in middle school, and I was just sitting at my desk, and my classmates and I were just sitting there watching the television, and we're just like, what is this? And when the towers fell, because I'm a nerd and I played a lot of Counter Strike at the time, I just sat there and I was like, terrorist win. I'm just being an edgy 13-year-old.
Oh no.
Yeah. And
You
then I
know,
went and played Counter Strike and refused to play as a terrorist for 2 weeks.
I remember that day too,
Thank you
Benny.
for your
I was
service.
Yeah.
I was working a dead end job during 9/11 too. I was working in a coffee shop, and that happened. And I just looked at my boss. I was like, "Hey, can I just fucking go home now? Like nobody cares about coffee right now." They're like, "Yeah, go ahead." I left. I was
guess
smiling. I was like, "Hey, day off."
yeah. Well, sorry, I'm kind of losing my place now.
No, it's my
Uh,
fault. I distracted you on purpose.
That's all right.
Keeps you off on your toes.
Yeah.
So, Benny, let's go back to talking about these jobs. We asked you if there was anything that you could have been doing closer to you. You said there wasn't anything that was within driving distance that paid as well, like a closer driving distance.
Yeah.
So you do end up getting that cycle because I think that with any job, the beginning of employment is always a two-way street. It's always like, are you going to accept this position for this amount of money? If you say yes, then you're kind of in a contract with that person, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say contract. Like the thing about contracts is like they are binding, and it's more of a. Um, well, I lived in at the time I was living in Florida, so Florida's kind of it is what's called an at will state. So it means that uh, your employment is conditional, or rather, it's based upon whether or not you want to continue to keep working there, and whether or not they want you to continue to work there as well. So, I mean, with
I
a
feel like that
contract,
sounds. I don't know why. Is that something that you find to be unreasonable?
at will employment. Well, I mean, when you really think about it, and when you really look at it at a as how it functions, you're at will to get fucked. So if you
Okay.
say if you get hurt or something beyond your control happens, and you go to your employer and you say, "Hey, I got hurt," like yes, you can get workman's comp because they have to provide that. It's just now they're kind of looking for ways to get rid of you, and I don't know. I'm kind of
Certainly.
speaking outside of my death here. Like I have had experience with workman's comp. Like I had let's see, I think it was back in 2021. I actually pulled my back out while I was working at Walmart, and I went through workman's comp with them, and
Okay.
that was an interesting ordeal. I really was afraid. Like I woke up one day and I couldn't move, and my back was really kind of fucked up. And thankfully, they took me to a clinic, got me checked out, and they gave me a shot in my back, and suddenly it didn't hurt to move anymore. And I was put on light duty, and I was put on light duty for about 2 weeks. And after that, I was pretty much cleared to go back to regular work. And it, like to go back to like my jobs though, like a lot of my jobs have just been really low paying jobs.
Okay.
Um,
Would
even when
you,
I'm
no
sorry,
stigma here. I'm just going to ask you, would you consider yourself a low skilled worker?
uh, for a lot of my life, yes. However, now I've been able to kind of leverage a lot of my experiences into being able to bullshit my way into management positions.
All right.
Uh, before I moved to where I am currently, I actually decided to apply for a job at Checkers, and I've never worked in fast food in my entire life, and I bullshitted my way into being an assistant manager at Checkers.
All
So I
right.
mean,
Salesmanship. Good
yeah,
job.
yeah. I mean, the wage that they offered me was a lot less than what they were paying managers at other places. Like there was a Taco Bell across the street, and they were offering starting managers there $17 an hour. They offered me 14, and
Okay.
the only reason I really took it was I needed a job on short notice, and I was moving in a month and a half, so
Okay.
I didn't really care what I was doing as long as I was doing something.
So I asked you that question because it seems like a lot of these jobs that you've been working are, like we're talking. You said you worked in the medical field as well. You were working it as an
Well,
orderly.
Or
when I
security.
was working as a security officer, I wasn't really working in the medical field. I was working around medical
Got
professionals.
you. I misunderstood. Okay, so
Sorry.
you did security work. You worked at Walmart. You've worked in a Checkers as an assistant manager. So you've done
Yeah.
a variety of different things. You're
Um, I'm
you're
sorry to interrupt.
sure.
Like you could say like a lot of my experience is just working retail. Like I've worked in grocery stores, I've worked for Dollar General, I've worked for Walmart, I've worked for Home Depot, I've worked for Winn Dixie, which is a
Supermarket.
supermarket. If nobody's actually heard of it, I don't know if anyone has heard of Winn Dixie. There is a movie because of Winn Dixie, but yeah. Anyway, I digress. And let's see. I've also worked for an MLM, but that didn't really go anywhere.
You did
I
the
also
you did the multi-level marketing?
yeah, and I've also done direct sales. Like when before I left high school, I was selling this product. It was called Rescue Tape, and it's a high it's a silicone tape, and you can stretch it. And when you stretch it, it has like some kind of bond that will fuse within seconds of you stretching it, and then within 24 hours it cures, and it creates a permanent seal that is shit. I forget the
Okay.
whole spiel, but like I used to
I'm not going to
demo
buy any.
products.
I'm not going to buy
Well,
any,
I'm
Benny.
I'm interested.
Well,
I
Cardiff after the show.
Okay.
Ben, I guess my question for you is the reason I asked this. I wanted to get a vibe for your past. What brought you to this Reddit page? What brought you to Antiwork, and why do you
um
frequent it?
I was working Walgreens, and Walgreens was I was doing what was called a designated hitter. So designated hitter is like one step below being a store supervisor kind of, and they put you in a lot of places. So, like, I worked in the liquor store, worked at the front end, I worked in photo, I also worked in the pharmacy, and for some reason they put me in a pharmacy. I've never been in a pharmacy in my entire life. They put me in a pharmacy, and one of the first things I did was
Start
I
taking all the pills, just
I
everything that
wish.
was back there, like it
Oh
was Willy
God,
Wonka's candy shop.
I really wish I had done something like that, but I didn't. Instead, what I did was I gave the wrong medicine to someone. I gave somebody else's medicine to a completely different patient. And like me, because I've never been in a pharmacy before and had no idea what I was doing, did that. And like they told me later on that that was a huge no no. And
Hold on.
yeah,
Did you just hand the wrong bag to somebody, or were you actually putting the pills in the bottle for somebody?
no, the pills were already in the bag. Like they have the system where it's basically like rigging up groceries. So you have a little handheld scanner, and you can scan the barcode that's on the bag,
Mhm.
and then just hand it to them. And like they had a similar name to the person that I was giving them the medicine, so I scanned it, didn't know what was going on the register, and then managed to give the wrong medicine to that customer, and then was later on informed that that had happened.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure they weren't happy with you for that.
no,
But it seems
no, but
negligent on their part for putting someone who has no experience in charge of
yeah,
handing people the right medicine.
I,
But
I
I
was
don't know anything
basically
on that one.
I was basically a baby, and they handed me a loaded handgun. I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay, well, in a sense. So, Ben, Antiwork, the Reddit page. When you get, how did you land there?
Well, I mean, I just started to. I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I had heard about anti-work, so I just kind of went there through osmosis. Like
Okay.
it was just like I was already kind of doing that to begin with. Like I started with the Walgreens. Like I went to the Walgreens Reddit page, and I started making memes and telling stories about the my experiences with Walgreens. And like I actually quit Walgreens because one of the managers told me that working 29 hours a week was full time, and I told him that's bullshit.
Well,
So
I would tend to agree with you in that scenario there. So you got on to Antiwork, and we were talking at the start of the show how this page is about some people who are upset with their menial jobs or upset with their high-paying jobs, but basically just people who are upset with their jobs. And then there's people who believe that the system needs to change. Are you one of those people who feels that the system needs to change? And if so, what does a no-work environment look like to you?
well, as far
Because that's
as
a big idea.
yeah, as far as the system needs to change, yes, it does need to change. However, that doesn't change the fact that work still needs to be done. And there's two different types of work. There's socially necessary work, and then there's the bullshit that people just do. Like there's an entire book called Bullshit Jobs that talks about how a lot of jobs just kind of exist to do nothing. Like we have jobs that, or rather, there's people who exist within our current system who don't actually add any value to the economy. So, like, to give you an idea, when it comes to like healthcare, the reason why healthcare is so expensive is there are administrators and bureaucrats in the background who go through the minutia of deciding how much things cost. And there's also like the whole idea of oh, shit. I'm kind of losing myself.
Well,
I'm sorry.
so no, you're fine, Benny. I'm just gonna comment here because I am in no way like a fan of big pharma, but can we both agree that innovation is fueled by need? So we need to find solutions to problems. So we constantly have to be innovating, and in a lot of ways, doesn't that work into the cost of medicine as well? Isn't
Well,
that part of it?
the cost that we pay for medicine really isn't based upon innovation, because a lot of medicine is actually subsidized by taxpayers, and a lot of the costs that people end up paying for the medicines that they have are really just marketing costs. Like, there's no reason insulin should be so expensive in this country. Like, you can get it freely, you can get it cheaply in other countries like Canada for $30. And it's like the thing about insulin,
I don't know how their money works.
I don't either. But as far as it goes, when you have a free market for healthcare, like, I, I fundamentally believe that when it comes to certain things, they should not really be for profit. And one of those things is healthcare should not be a for profit venture. Housing should not be a for profit venture. I don't think education should be a for profit venture. And because these things right now operate as for profit, all it's doing is we're publicly subsidizing it. So we have these welfare queens who are the corporations who come in because they already have large sums of money. They're buying everything up at cheap prices, and then they're jacking everything up. Like, look at housing right now. People during 2008, the 2008 recession, people lost their homes, and then giant corporations came in, bought all these homes up cheaply, and then now we have rent increases to the point where people can't even afford to live anymore. Like, I was living in Florida and I could barely afford my rent, and when it came time for me to renew my lease for the apartment that I was renting, my rent went from $1,300 to $1,500. My income did not increase during that year.
Sure.
So I have to say, I mean, I think there was a time in my life where I think I felt very similar to you. I don't want to say I was an ideal young potato at one point that thought, people should do things because it's the right thing to do. Or again, you said housing. We'll use housing as an example, medicine as an example. When I look at what a doctor has to go through, the education they have to go through, the things they have to learn, the amount of time they have to put into that, if medicine wasn't, if it wasn't a lucrative uh, payoff for the doctor at the end of 10, 12 years of schooling, why would anyone become a doctor if it wasn't a for-profit system?
So
why would somebody build your house? Why would
I don't
somebody
think
become
that
a carpenter?
people. I don't think that all people are solely motivated by profit. I think a lot of times when you eliminate a lot of the problems that people have, like when people no longer have to worry about paying their rent or being able to feed themselves, they have a lot of time on their hands. And because they have that time on their hands, they can actually take that time and put it towards something more useful. So in a ideal world where no one has to work for a shitty corporation, where everyone equally owns, well, the means of production, then it's more of whether or not people want to do what they're doing or not. So you end up with people who want to be there rather than have to be there because they have student loans or they have some kind of need to have large sums of money.
Benny, I don't think in any system, forgive me for interrupting. I just, in my brain, I'm trying to wrap my head around what you're saying, and I guess maybe clarify this for me. How in any system that if we have to keep up let's say we want to make sure that we all keep up the level of lifestyle that we live. Can we agree on that? Okay.
Yeah.
We got to have people who are going to do jobs that no one wants to do.
Yes. Well,
when we have a no-work society, who is going to do those jobs? Are there going to be the people to just step up to do them just because?
I think what would happen is, because I don't think we're going to be able to eliminate work as it exists right now. And I think that one of the best ways we can do is maybe try to transition towards like what they have going on in Finland. Like
okay,
in Finland,
yeah, what's that?
In Finland, the government actually, if you're homeless, provides you with a home. There's like it's free. You get a house, you get access to healthcare, you get all kinds of things, and it's like people still have to work, and if they're not worried about shit, I'm sorry,
No,
I'm kind of like
you're not a
spiraling
professional
here.
broadcaster like Vinny and myself, but you're doing great.
I
think
hope I
you're-
am.
You are, and I'm trying to follow what you're saying, and you're not unclear. I'm just, my brain is getting ahead of me because we talk about, I had mentioned earlier, like this is kind of a vicious circle for people, and I feel like that's what you're describing, the day-to-day living for the next paycheck situation that millions of people are in everywhere. I guess the question is, though, those people who work 9 to 5s that they don't necessarily care for, they don't want to do, who does those jobs in a society where we eliminate money
Well,
and we eliminate work? Who does those jobs?
I think that a lot of those jobs would actually just kind of go away. They would just kind of they would be phased out. I
Okay,
would say.
so let me ask you this question. Don't you think that some of these jobs are not, we couldn't possibly be able to phase out? What about the job of like sanitation worker, garbage person?
Well, I think that people
Person whose job is to repair the sewers.
Yeah, I think that people would find a reason to do those jobs, and that you would be able to motivate them not through profit, but rather as like a civil duty.
So what we want to do is believe in mankind's kindness towards other men too.
I mean, when you look at people as a whole and you see how people tend to behave, you see that most people just kind of don't give a shit. And,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
You're
my
not helping
point.
your own argument here.
That's my point.
yeah.
I mean, most people, for whatever reason, would you agree with this statement? And this is not meant to be insulting to anybody, but most people are terrible at their jobs that they have already.
Oh,
Whether it's
yeah.
because they're just not good at it or whether it's
Look.
because they just don't want to do it.
I think a lot of people end up in places or positions of power not through actual aptitude, but rather they just kind of end up where they are because they've been there the longest. And I mean, in my own personal job, like what I'm doing right now, I see a lot of people who have no fucking idea what they're doing, and yet
Yeah.
they're somehow making more money than me.
Well, you came on here and told me that you got your jobs by just BSing. Those people did too.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, I bullshit a lot myself. Like right now, my current job is actually pretty easy,
Okay.
and I'm making about twice as much money as I've made at any other job. So I mean, I'm pretty happy with what I've got right now.
So
I'm glad
so
to hear that.
I'd ask, do you feel any empathy for the people that work with you that make less than you? That maybe
Well,
working
we all
harder?
make the same amount.
Okay.
We all make the same amount. We all do the same work.
Okay. So
Do you
I-
ever think back to your time at Walgreens when you're sitting at your job now and
Well-
shed a thought for those people who are still there?
Yeah, like I do kind of feel sorry for them. Like one of the things that I would deal with is like Walgreens has this policy where if you want to buy alcohol, you have to have your driver's license. And we would have people who would come in and they're like in their 60s and 70s, and they'd want to buy alcohol. And then I'd be like, all right, may I have your ID, please? And then they'll just sit there and they're like, what the fuck? I'm 60 years old. I'm like, okay, I still need your driver's license, please. And then like they would just sit there and shit their pants the whole time. Like they would just yell at me full blast because I asked them for their ID.
Well,
And then I'd also get a subset of people who would think that the Walgreens scanners are actually hooked up to the CIA, and that when I scan their IDs, it's sending their personal data to the government.
well, that's true.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody
You know,
knows
we all
that.
know that.
100%.
CVS doesn't. So please go to CVS if you
Yeah.
don't want to get
Yeah,
flagged.
exactly.
Your friendly neighborhood pharmacy.
Yes.
They won't give you the wrong pills. Ben, I'm trying to understand the greater concept of this Reddit page here, and it seems to me like there's a lot of people who have, really are upset about their jobs, but want this system to change. But I'm not seeing a lot of real concrete things here that we could actually change. What are the practical steps to bringing about this this anti-work ideal into the world? I mean, what's the goal and how do you achieve it?
Well, I think that because of the pandemic, because of COVID, I think that people have had a lot of time on their hands and they've actually been looking into how things actually operate. And the more that they see how things are working, the more they're starting to realize that the people who have their hands on the levers of power also have just as little of an idea as they do as how things actually should work and could work. And I don't think that there's really anything wrong with trying something different. Just because it's worked for a really long time doesn't mean that there's not a better way. And like, it's like what people do is, or at least what I did is, I actually started. I actually mentioned this to you earlier. Like I used to be a bit of a right wing chud, and like I used to have a lot of really shitty ideas and opinions. And as I started to learn more about not just economics, but like things in general, the less shittier my opinions became, and the more I started to be able to recognize people who had shitty ideas but were trying to portray themselves as though they have the solution. Like, I mean, look at crypto bros and libertarians. Like, the thing about crypto bros is they're all trying to get everybody to buy their coins, and then they do a fucking rug pull. And libertarians, they just want everyone to be slaves with contracts.
What do you classify yourself as? What if are you part of a group? If you are, what's it called?
I would probably just be a cynic.
Fair enough. So you're a cynic. Again, my question is, what's the first steps?
Well, I mean, some of the first steps that you can take is to really learn about economics. That's really like I started with a economist named Thomas Sowell, who is a right wing. He's a right wing sweetheart. He's like the Herschel Walker that that the Republicans bring out every once in a while to tell everyone, see, look, we too have black people that agree with us.
How many Heismans does he have?
He doesn't have any, but he actually he started as a communist, and then he claimed that as he learned about economics, he changed from being a communist to being a free market capitalist type of person. And like his first I read his first book was Economics 101, and during the course of that book,
to start.
yeah, during that book he actually talks about communism and how even the communists still actually have something productive to add to the field of economics. And he said that, you know, they had to admit that certain things that they thought how things worked were contrary to the reality, and that they had to focus more on how things actually worked based on how they thought things worked.
Okay.
Which is
Well, I think
education.
as a concept, communism, and don't let me finish my statement before you attack me here, Vinny. But as a concept, communism could be a great system. Unfortunately, human nature gets in the way of communism, as we've seen has happened everywhere. Communism is the chosen system. Human nature gets in the way. People get in the way of it. And I think that's where, the free market aspect of it comes in, because that human nature kind of has an opportunity to win out.
Benny, where do you stand on the free market? Fan, yay or nay?
Well, when you really start to look at what free markets are, they're not really free. They're free for the people who control those markets, but they're not free for the people who have to exist within those markets. Like, to give you an idea, when the United States after the Second World War founded the IMF, and then they started fucking around with South America. In order for South America to secure loans through the IMF, they had to sell, or rather not sell, but they would have to guarantee those loans, or rather, like, essentially what the United States did after the Second World War is we turned the South America into a vassal state. We got them to take their currency, their own currency, and peg it to the United States dollar, and then we came up with these projects to improve the infrastructure in those countries, and we got them to take those out, and then because they pegged their currency to the United States dollar, we loaded them up with a shit ton of debt, and then projected that those projects would generate revenue enough to actually be able to cover those to cover the debt that they were taking on. But then the reality was there wasn't enough. That the people who actually lived in South America didn't make enough money to be able to pay for those services. So
Okay.
then, as a way of not only securing more loans from the IMF, but also just to continue to inflate the debt that they had, we convinced South America, or rather, not when I say we, I'm talking about the United States, to make their countries more suitable for American corporations. And then American corporations like Bechtel would come in, and they would make they would build a water treatment plant. And I think it was Brazil. It was a South American country where Bechtel built a water treatment plant, and one of the conditions for them to have that water treatment plant built was they had to pass a law that made it illegal for people to collect rainwater. So then, after that law was passed, people who had been collecting rainwater for generations were suddenly having their doors being broken down by the police because they collected rainwater and they weren't paying for the water that was coming from the public utility.
What a bunch of drips.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that kind
Okay,
of shit.
I get
And,
it,
like,
Ben. I get you, Ben. I get you. But I guess
Mississippi is in a similar position. Like, they can't afford to. I think it's Jackson, Mississippi. They can't afford to fix their water treatment plant there, and they're like, "Gee, we don't have any tax money to make a new water treatment plant." And then what was the solution that the governor of Mississippi came up with? Oh, why don't we have a private corporation come in and build it for us so that we can have fresh water?
Ben, that's been the government's, at least a giant about half of the government's approach to solving problems for the last 50 years is private industry, because private industry, according to some, gets the job done better than the government can. So, I
Well,
mean,
when private interests, when the corporate interest and government interests meet, you know what that's called?
tell me.
It's fascism. We have fascism. Like, look at the police. Look at how over the last couple of years, the responses that we've seen from the police when people protest, the militarization of police. It's like we've had over a gradual period of time, I would say within the last 60 to 70 years, we've had a fascist state growing within the United States as far as the police go. And God, I sound fucking conspiratorial when I talk about this stuff. I'm sorry.
No, you're all right. So I guess, Ben, my question is tonight, because we've talked a lot.
I
We've learned a
know,
lot about
and-
you. And I guess my question is, Ben, you're on this page. I'm not 100% sure I know where you stand on the free market. I'm not 100% sure I understand what the first steps would be for introducing an anti-work world, or a world where this concept of work doesn't exist. Because, you were just talking to me about the situation down there in where'd you say it was, Mississippi, with the water supply. If they're in that situation, according to your logic, the people in the state would just build their own water supply because they need it.
Yeah. Well,
That they would just go do it.
Here's the thing. Here's the difference between the United States and South America. The United States produces, or rather, it prints debt in its own currency. Because we are able to print debt in our own currency, we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Smart.
Here's the thing. Like right now in Mississippi and other Gulf Gulf states like Louisiana too, they have these large multi-billion corporations that exist there, like let's say the oil and gas industry. They've been granted by the government tax-free status, so they're able to operate within those states. They don't pay any taxes, yet they benefit from being part of society. And what's really been going on for the last 60, 70 years is corporations have been benefiting from existing within society without contributing to it. And the way that you contribute to society is through taxes. So a lot of the push that I've seen, at least on the Antiwork Reddit, is to push towards taxing corporations, not only large multi-billion corporations, but also towards taxing wealthy people. And we could take the tax money that we already have right now, and take it from less than productive means and put it towards social programs. Like when you look at the most recent example that I can come up with, like when it comes to police, the Uvalde police system, or the Uvalde police, the police in Uvalde, Texas, during that during the shooting, the school shooting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They
I'm
did
familiar.
absolutely nothing to save the children that were in that classroom. And it's actually been found that like the police as a whole have no actual duty to protect society. The only thing that they're actually supposed to protect is private property. But again, like the massive budget that Uvalde had went towards training and retaining police officers. Imagine if we were to cut some of that money that went to the police station and instead used it towards funding some kind of maybe government subsidized housing.
Okay, well, I've heard the argument for defund the police quite a bit. I'm not sure how that fits into the anti-work topic
I think
that we're discussing, though.
I think it all kind of intersects, and again, I'm also kind of spiraling here, so I'm sorry.
All right. Benny, I love you, pal. I really appreciate you coming on tonight to talk to us and give us your thoughts on this. From what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, folks, the idea is that if the manufacturers, if the people who are the corporations are not giving back to the society via taxes, they are therefore robbing from society and enslaving it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I wouldn't say so much as enslaving it, but rather they're benefiting from the largesse of our government while not actually contributing to society.
Yeah. Well, Benny, thank you for coming in and explaining this to us. We're going to take some other. Do we have any other listeners looking to jump in, Cardiff?
We do. We do have one.
All right.
At this point.
Well, Benny, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to, my friend. But we're going to bring in some other people to chat. Who do we have, Cardiff?
Well, I mean, it's Lorenzo Areola.
Oh,
We should have known he was going to show up.
Of course, you post a link, and I'm gonna come here. And I hate working just as much as the rest of people. I've had several jobs over the course of my 20 years of working.
So
Okay.
tell us your worst job experience.
My worst job was working at Burger King. I worked there for about maybe a month, and there were the Indians who owned it. You know, like the not the Native
Jeez.
Americans, but the other Indians, right?
Yes. Okay.
So they were very tight on things, on their budgets. They would say, "Oh, you know, don't put more than 2 napkins in the bag whenever you give it to customer." And you know, they had to you had to pay for extra sauce and shit like that.
Checkers would do that. They make people pay like 25, 30 cents for the sauces that they had. I'd also explain to people if they wanted like the ranch sauce that, oh yeah, it's 60 cents. I'd still give it to them anyway.
Or
But
like
you know
if
what, but what happens when I go to a restaurant that does something like that I don't agree with, I don't go back there.
Yeah,
That's my
well,
choice, right?
I mean, what I did was because I was a manager, I would just be like, "Hey, just so you know, next time you want to get these, we do charge extra for them. But since you asked for them, here you go. Have a good day."
Yeah, but then
Who's got
people
the
don't wanna
alarm
go.
going off in the background?
I don't know. Is that me?
I think it is Lorenzo.
Uh,
Get your shit straight.
I don't have an
I'm
alarm.
gonna lose my mind.
Supposed to be a professional
Not me.
broadcaster, this guy.
Yeah, I'm just hearing like an alarm going off. I'm gonna go crazy. And by the way, whenever you walk into a restaurant, you better be careful they don't throw you in the fryer, Cardiff.
No, I would not enjoy that. So if
Oh,
you look
come
up
on,
on the
dude.
screen, I put up a post that that is on this subreddit, and this is something again that is very polarizing to this group. It's guys like this who probably runs a company or is a manager or whatever, and you know this is actually what he thinks. You know, less salary with a great culture is better than more salary with toxic environment. I agree, a toxic environment would stink, but
How about we just have a great culture and great salary?
I
Yeah,
think
why can't we
that's-
have both?
I again, I would accept that. Like that's reasonable. That's a reasonable request, right? But yeah, there's guys like Smug. He does have a smug, punchable face, doesn't he, Vinny?
I'm not gonna lie. I've been wanting to punch the screen for about a good 15 minutes, so this has been up there. Farhan Rasik, sir, I don't know if this was just you trying to be quotable or if this is something you really believe. It's kind of douche chili.
It is. It really is, and I can see how this would fuel some flames on the anti-work subreddit for sure.
Well,
What do you all think of jobs that declare you need to have pronouns now? Because I know my current job has us tell our pronouns.
I don't see why that's a huge deal. Everybody has pronouns to begin with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but some of them are a little, you know, wishy-washy.
I mean, if somebody says, "Hey, these are my pronouns, please use them," why wouldn't you use them?
Well, yeah, I'm raised from a different time where I hear a manly voice, I'm going to say, yes, sir. I hear a female voice, I'm going to say, yes, ma'am. And
I mean, that's fine, but I don't see anything wrong with acknowledging or accepting somebody's pronouns.
All right, redirect. Back on
Sorry.
anti-work.
yeah. Hey, Lorenzo, let's stick on the
Actually.
topic tonight. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole this evening. We'll save that. We're not going to shy away from controversy on the show, but we'll save that one for another evening. Cardiff,
this
let's
is-
keep looking on these.
Yeah, so this is one that's a very common thread on here. The normalized discussing wages with coworkers. So a lot of companies have policies. It would seem that you can't discuss your pay with your coworkers. So they're hiding. You know, they don't
They
wanna-
want you to not know what people you work with are making. Like, I remember I asked one of my coworkers who had been doing what I've been doing for like 13 years, "Hey, how much are you making anyway?" And then they were like, "Whoa, that's rude." And I was like, "What? How is that? I'm sorry, what?"
Well, you know, we're talking about old school ways of doing things. I know my old man back in the day would never want to tell anybody how much he's making because that's none of their damn business. And that's the way he rolled.
Mhm.
So I kind of understand that concept of not wanting to talk about how much you make or how little you make. Should you be allowed to? That's a different question. Should a corporation or a business have a rule saying yes or no, you can discuss how much you
Well-
make with your coworkers. If there's something punitive because I said, "Hey, I've been working here 13 years. I started at 5.15. Now I make 13.85." And then the guy gets fired because he told somebody. That's a problem.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Well, there's a federal law that says that the workers cannot actually be halted from, or rather prevented from, discussing their wages. And having that conversation in the first place, I think, is healthy because it allows people to know where they stand within the company. And like, sure, you can make the argument that maybe you're making less than someone because you don't have that experience. At the same time, though, it's like, well, how do you get the experience in the first place? And not only
Sure.
that, but it's like corporations are fully capable of paying more. Like the place where I work at, they offer, sometimes they are willing to pay overtime, and they're willing to pay it in such a way that like my wage goes from being like I think I'm making like $21 an hour, so for it to go from 21 to $26, $27 an hour to even as high as $30 to $40 an hour. They're more than happy and willing to pay that price for my labor in the first place. And it's like they act like they're not willing to pay that price at all times, though.
Okay, so I guess to get back to the normalized discussing wages with coworkers sign that I'm looking at here, Cardiff, I've always been of the mind that whenever there's a rule that's been imposed by a job, it's been because there was some type of issue somewhere. And my thoughts are that most companies that would have a rule like that probably enacted it to union bust.
There's that, but now I'm going to speak from. I'm going to pull the curtain back a little bit here. I've been in positions. I've been middle managers. I've been a middle manager in a past life. I've had to hire people in a past life, and 99% of the time, the people I was hiring, I was having to pay them more than the people that had been working there for years, only because of the job market we were in Minnesota.
Wait, you believe in religious, like coming back after dying, and then
What's that?
having a life after death, like resurrection? You believe in that?
You're hung up on the wrong part of the story, Lorenzo.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So essentially,
So-
yes, I would have to hire somebody. If I had somebody working for me for 5 years and they were making $50,000 a year, the new person walking in the door, in most cases, I could not hire somebody competent for less than 60. Right. So new people coming in the door were almost always making more than people that have been there for years. It sucked, but I couldn't hire people at 50.
So are you saying that in this place that you worked, there was this type of rule because they didn't want the people who were there for a long time to know that the new people walking in the door are making a substantial amount more than them?
We didn't have a rule about it, but it was kind of.
Don't tell Gary when you hired
crossed my
somebody.
fingers. I literally put offers in front of people and said, "Look, I need you to, not disclose this to any of your coworkers."
That
because
What
happened
I've
to me at
heard
Home
is that
Depot.
hiring budgets are usually higher than retention budgets.
absolutely.
When I worked at Home Depot, they hired a guy. I had been there 5 years. They hired a guy 1 year, and we got paid the same. And he smelt like really bad all the time.
I think that says a lot about your work ethic, Lorenzo.
Yeah, well,
I worked at Home Depot too, so I kind of know.
but he'd come in smelling really badly, like as if, if you leave your clothes in the washer, and
mildew.
Yeah, he smelled like mildew, and then he'd leave them there for a week and then dry them, and he'd come in and he just smelled bad all the time. It was the worst thing. And I'm like, this guy's getting paid the same wage that I am, and he's smelling like this.
Did you work at the Home Depot by Canoga Park by any chance?
No, it was here in
too bad.
San Antonio, Texas, and yeah, it was bad because it was like an issue, and people were even saying, well, it might be his religion. And it's like, oh my God, you bring in Jesus.
my religion is to not bathe.
What were you more offended by, the fact that he made the same as you, or the smell?
The smell. Yes, the smell very much so. It would.
You wouldn't care if he washed his ass before he came into work.
Well, and it's like, how do you not smell yourself? How? Or I don't know.
Some people are just unaware.
Yeah, I don't know if I should go around telling people that story, Lorenzo.
I don't work there anymore, so whatever. But
All right.
So
All
here's
right.
here's another good one. Here's another good one. So this is somebody that works for FedEx, and their manager.
Now
sent
this has
to them.
24,000 upvotes, by the way, folks.
Yes.
Just so you know.
So this is his manager saying, I'm gonna need you to keep it under 12 because I'm gonna need you on Saturday, and remember the 10-hour rule in between shifts. So the company has a rule. You can't. You need a 10-hour time frame between your shifts. Great rule, right? FedEx.
Yeah.
Good job. But I believe what this manager is asking him to do is to clock out early, even though he's still working, so that on paper or on digital, whatever, he's technically has 10 hours in between his shifts. So again, I think an example of a shitty boss, a shitty thing to do to somebody. But
I had something similar happen to me where I was working. It wasn't Christmas Eve, but it was the day before Christmas Eve, and I was stuck at work. And this was the first time it had actually snowed. And I'm from Florida, and where I am now, I've never actually been through snow. But anyway, everything was not really working the way that it should, and we ended up. It was supposed to be like a 6-hour day, and it ended up being a 8 to 9 hour day. And during that whole time, I didn't actually clock out for a lunch, and it wasn't until later that they had retroactively changed my punch so that I did take a lunch. So I worked the whole 9 hours and then only got paid for 8.5 hours.
It
And-
seems like their fancy way of getting out of pain a little bit, but also trying to comply with the law.
Yeah, well, I mean, corporations, they make more money from breaking the law than they do actually complying with the law. Like, there was a story about Family Dollar where people who worked for Family Dollar were not able to actually take a full 30-minute lunch break, and they were fined by the government, and I think they were fined like $2 or $3 million. But I think overall, Family Dollar actually ended up making more money than what the fine was. So I think a lot of corporations just kind of look at breaking the law as a cost of doing business rather than.
well, it's the old Ford Pinto, right?
Yeah,
What was the
it costs more money to fix the problem with the Ford Pinto than it did to just pay out the families of the victims.
And now, so up until now, I think I've been pretty open to the anti-work posts here. I've been kind of like, I can see their side on this. But then I stumble onto one like this that's a little
Yeah.
infuriating to me.
I
Store-
think
The
I
store I
think
work for has me unloading this entire thing. One small problem. I'm a cashier, not a stalker. No one is teaching me how to do this. I was just told to figure it out.
Okay, well, that's one of those things where they're not asking you to handle people's prescriptions. They're asking you to put shit on a shelf.
Yes,
This
stacks
is
and boxes.
Yeah, this is literally just a pallet's worth of boxes to take out and put and stock on the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm with you on this one. This person is just bitching for the sake of bitching. That's a pretty
I
easy,
agree.
menial job.
I wouldn't want to do it. It sucks. I've done it. It's not the greatest thing to do. You don't feel, but it's not. I don't need 8
It's not
hours of
rocket
training
surgery.
and certifications to unload boxes and put them on a cart. I mean,
I feel like this is one of those situations where this person wants someone standing over them saying, now this box goes here, that box goes there. No, just figure it out. I mean, I don't know.
here,
This just looks annoying.
here's some of the comments. Work at your own set pace. Don't let them rush you. And if they complain you did it wrong, tell them to work alongside you to show how it's supposed to be done. That's it's stuff like that I think can get in the way. I think some of these mentalities, some of this advice that they might be getting could be part of the spiral contributing to some of the problems. Like some of the reactions corporations have to make are because of some of the
My
kids who have
behavior.
never been asked to actually work are suddenly being asked to work, and they're like, "Well, this sucks."
my first job was at Wendy's. They threw me on the grill at one point, and I had no idea how to.
I
grill a
bet that
burger.
was hot.
Yeah, it was. Oh boy. And
Oh my god!
I got put on the grill, burnt every burger, but luckily, when Wendy's burns their burgers, they just make them into the chili meat, so nothing
Yes.
really got wasted.
Checkers did that too.
Nothing is better than a Wendy's chili when you get a big hunk of hamburger in it where Lorenzo just didn't cut it up enough. Now, Lorenzo, Wendy's burgers, are they really not frozen?
No, they're fresh, and you know they don't. You know why they're square?
Because
they don't
Lorenzo
cut
chews
For
the
the
round
cooking
parts off.
surface.
Because Wendy's doesn't cut corners.
Because Wendy's doesn't cut corners.
One for the
Hell yeah.
potato.
That adopted crazy bastard Dave.
I love that you
Whatever.
had a bell ready for that.
He's
Listen,
got a
Benny.
bell ready for everything.
Well, since I've started ringing the bell, thank you for the $2 cause. Nobody told me there was going to be boasting. Also, thank you for the $1.99 B Dabbler. What field does Lorenzo work in? Long time, first time. A question for you, Lorenzo.
I'm in tech support right now. I work from home. That's why it's a lot of kind of pronouns heavy, and it's real weird to me, after being in the like brick and mortar stores for 20 years, I tell you, 20 years. And yeah, it's a strange world.
Do you like working from home? Do you feel like more freedom?
I like it. It's just strange because I don't know if y'all have had, regular jobs. It feels weird to just get up, not have to shower for. That's why you see me in my same red shirt all the time. I don't have to shower for days. I could be like that guy and literally just smell.
Are your roommates complaining about the smell?
No, I hide it very well. I buy a lot of scented candles from Bed Bath and Beyond.
That's
they're-
the solution.
Yeah,
So
I have contingencies for everything.
All right. So here's another interesting one. This is one where I'm kind of a bit of a roller coaster on this one. So missed out on a compulsory in-office day because my wife had a seizure. Okay. My boss is hinting that I won't get the raise I filed 4 weeks prior. What do I do? Okay. Fair. Your wife had a seizure. You had a medical issue. It sucks. Right? Like you can't go to work. That's fine. I get
Sure.
that. A boss should be understanding of that. But as I read the text messages back and forth, the first message comes from the boss. Hi, I thought you were coming into the office today. Mondays are team days, not optional. Okay, so there's Mondays you got to be in the office. I don't think this fucker called. He just
So yeah,
now he's
you know,
upset that the boss is pissed, but you didn't call. Like at least let somebody know that you're not coming into work.
Now, for those of you who are just listening to the podcast, I want you guys to realize what we're looking at are just a screenshot of text messages, and we're only seeing some of the text messages. We're not seeing the entire setup here. Cardiff is right. This person could very well have just not called in and didn't show up because it was a medical emergency. And if that's the case, I don't blame the boss for sending that text. That first text does not seem over the line at all. Your thoughts, Cardiff? It seems pretty professional, maybe a little strongly worded.
Yes.
Well, if you read the second part of it, it says that they had heard. It seems like they had told someone else, and they told the boss about it. So, like, it seems redacted over there. It says, "Yes, I heard from redacted this morning, but I said team days are not optional. I know your wife is fine, and she had seizures in the past before. She was fine afterwards. They didn't seem very serious."
Okay,
So
well, doctor
it seems
over
like they
here.
were kind of they were already informed about it, and then now they're upset that they still didn't show up, and this person's just like, well, fuck you, this is my wife.
Yeah, but did he really miss? I know it's a team day, but was it like a regular season game or a playoff game that he missed? Like what makes it to where this was the meeting he had to be at no matter what, and now it's like, oh, will you I don't.
Well, it seems like they've tried getting these days off before previously. Now that we're looking at
Well,
the second picture, so
yeah, and
it
by
seems like
the way,
it's building a bit of a pattern.
Yeah, it's about how effectively you can work at home. It's about building cohesion as a team. So this guy's talked to this person about this before.
Cardiff,
rhythm.
read the person's comment above that.
Oh,
read how
sorry.
this person responded.
So you'd rather I risk my wife's health so I can come to team day when I can be just as effective at home. I've told you many times before that she suffers from epilepsy. Yes, she's had it her whole life, but I still want to be here with her to make sure she's okay. Yeah, it's the so you want
Seems
my
like
wife
some
to die,
codependence.
so I like it's. I think there's a I don't know. I'm interpreting a little bit of drama here,
Yeah, it feels like they're both kind of shitty, and this has been brewing.
and also advice to everybody: don't put this shit in text, especially to the boss of the work.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone and call your boss.
Because here's the fact of the matter: this has 25,000 upvotes on Reddit. You look like a dick, dude.
This is 2,000. This
2000.
Okay.
It was the
Sorry.
other
only
one that
14
had
hours
20.
though.
You know, I would work in the grocery industry as well, and they would say the Super Bowl the day after is like the day the truckers all call in, like
Fucking Carl called into the creep off today, so yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, there's a rhythm to it, and I bet you this guy probably had like a rhythm to himself, that it's like, oh, every Monday my wife's gonna have a seizure. I need to watch out. It's like when you start coughing to set up the story for work. Man, I have a cough. I think this thing's not gonna, heal up over the weekend, and then you call over the weekend like, hey, remember that cough I had? Yeah, that really built up to something.
So if this guy's going to try to get away with the wife having a seizure thing, he's even going to have video of her flopping around on the floor for this boss to believe him in the future.
Oh,
Yes.
what's that? Your dog died? Oh, I need proof of that.
How many grandmothers do you have?
At least 3.
There you go. So this is an interesting video that somebody's posted. So and again, I'll put my my younger Cardiff hat on, and I go, yeah, this is. All I'll say with this, and we can talk about it after, is from Walmart's side, it's shitty optics. It makes them look a little shitty. So
Well,
I'll just play it
Walmart's
for you.
kind of a horrible company.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. Walmart sucks a dick.
I only have $15.
I'm not saying Walmart. I'm not saying you literally suck a dick. I'm just saying you suck.
They
as a
might.
Corporation, please don't sue me.
They might.
And we are accepting sponsorships for subreddit surfing. Walmart.
Welcome to Subreddit Surfing,
I hope I can get a meal.
Brought to you by Walmart.
brought to you by Great Value Brands.
An obvious Walmart employee.
Let me get
This is
some
a
Sam's
Walmart
Choice,
promotional video.
cola.
She's wearing her Walmart name tag, and she says, "I only have $15. Let's find dinner for my family tonight." So I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, "Hey, you can, feed your family on a budget at Walmart," but
What they're doing is creating a shitty
Well,
ecosystem.
Yeah.
Because if their employees are barely making anything and blowing it all in the store just to eat tonight with their families,
yeah,
I mean-
that's what this feels like.
Well,
a
It's
lot.
pretty
to give you an
nefarious.
idea, I worked in Fresh Cap, and Fresh Cap is like all the fresh foods and stuff that they have. And I would have a day off from work, and I would come back in, and I'd end up finding that I'd have to throw away at least a couple $100 worth of fresh meat because someone decided, oh, I don't need to rotate. I can just put out what comes in on the truck every day, and then we have boxes full of pork ribs that never made it out on the floor, and then they have to be thrown away because they're 2 to 3 weeks out of date and they never made it out on the sales floor.
Do you see what we've done here, Vinny? We've actually turned Benny is now on the side of the corporations. We've turned Benny. Look at what we've done here. Okay, let's watch the video.
Licking boots. I love leather.
ooh, frozen dinner.
You need potatoes with every meal.
Vinny, do we need potatoes with every meal?
I don't even need potatoes for this show.
Oh, hey. I
love
don't
her-
think you know what you said.
I'm just teasing you. Now listen, this woman is not making healthy choices for her family. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
She bought a
Every-
vegetable.
What vegetable?
The bag before that was frozen vegetables. Well,
It looked like fucking tater tots to me.
No, hold on. It was vegetable. You gotta have your vegetable.
Yeah, and what was the vegetable?
I don't know, like beans. Hold on.
Broccoli.
There you go.
You need potatoes with every meal.
Potatoes are vegetable too, you know.
Here.
Okay.
I think I even have enough for dessert. Look at that cake. Amazing.
Amazing.
Let's head to the checkout.
And there's something about the irony here of the Walmart employee using the self-checkout.
She's doing the self-checkout. Oh, God.
She's still working for Walmart even when she's on.
It's literally the Jimmy Schubert bit. I don't remember working here.
I hate self-checkout.
I actually
really
like
hate
self-checkout.
self-checkout.
I don't have to deal with people.
No, I hate that they're forcing it on you.
I hate when a family meal, like she's probably buying a meal that says it's for a family size, but it's not going to feed me. You know, like what size family are you dictating?
That's a you
Family
problem,
of
Lorenzo.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lady's going to eat all this shit.
Yes.
She's
her
gonna eat the whole
layer
coconut pie.
cake.
Yeah.
Who eats a
Well-
coconut layer cake? That's gross. Coconut sucks.
Walmart throws away so much food, it's not even funny. And like a lot of it, I kind of wish we could have donated, but it's outside of its date, so we couldn't. So we had to throw it away. And I mean, I ended up spending some, like, I would work from 1 to 10 o'clock. I would spend from 1 to midnight working to throw away food because it was past its date. So. And
That's
not only-
interesting because, you know, if Walmart had a better system in place, for example, you know, I don't know what the shelf life is for some of these products, whether the shelf life is 3 days or 4 days, whatever's for meats and stuff like that. But if they had a system where they could get the stuff out maybe 36 hours ahead of it, you know, the date to get it out to people, to shelters and stuff for them to cook with would be great. You know what I mean?
They do have like they partnered with Feeding America, and what we would do at Walmart is we would actually go through the fresh foods, and anything that was like within date and was still sellable but wasn't really quite what they would want on the shelf to begin with, we could donate it. And we would have I would actually go around and I'd have a shopping cart. I'd take a banana box, an empty banana box, fill it up with food, and then we would put it in the freezer, and we would donate those the food that was in the box to Feeding America.
Okay.
It's just that if anything is past its date, or it's if it's a returned item from the store, so like say somebody goes through self checkout and they buy like fresh steaks, they could buy like $100 worth of fresh steaks, and they could turn around and decide they don't want it. It would go through returns. Even if returns managed to bring it back to
they would chuck
the
it. I
meat
get it.
department, we would have to throw it away
I gotcha.
because somebody
Past
bought
the
it.
date. Yeah, and
This,
past the date, and somebody bought it. You don't know the chain of custody. You don't want to give food to somebody that could poison them. I totally
Yeah.
get it.
This one time our dumpster wasn't working, so we had to put a dumpster outside of our fire exit, and we were throwing food in it. And some guy comes in his pickup truck with a ladder, and he's climbing in there, dumpster diving. And so I go out there, staring at him. I pick up my phone like I'm pretending I'm on it. Oh yeah, there's some guy out here. Yeah, well, his truck, it's a green color. And the guy's like, man, quit talking shit, man. I just want to get some food. Why are you talking shit? And I'm just there. Oh yeah, the police. You want to
Hello,
come get this?
CIA.
Yeah, I was like,
There's
you
a
want to
guy
come
out here.
get this guy? He's dumpster. And he's all.
Can I
"Fine, I'm
scan
fucking
your
leaving."
license, sir? I want to send it to the CIA.
he's like, I'm fucking leaving, man. Fuck you. And he just like leaves, and I'm like, bro, like get out of our dumpster. Get out of here. Shoo.
Thank you for the $1.99 core diff for the.
That they ended
crab
up
review.
hiring that guy at the same rate that they paid Lorenzo.
But I turned to find out it is legal to dumpster dive in Texas. It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
And
that's fun for
so now I feel
Texans.
bad. I
Fun
feel
fact.
bad that I
Well,
told.
what
told
some
you.
some corporations
Fun
do
fact.
is they'll actually take like bleach and pour bleach over the food, so no
Oh.
one can eat it.
Well, I think
That
I think-
actually, you know, if the food could kill somebody, it's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right, back to this lady scanning stuff at Walmart. What's going on here? What's the total on this? Can she afford it? Does she have to put the coconut cake back?
I hope.
Oh, Walmart has a employee discount too, but guess what? It doesn't cover
Food.
food.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
During the holidays, you can
Change
get
Well,
Oh, we have
37. I even have
Sorry.
change left.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Jesus Christ. What kind of employee discount does Walmart give for their
it's-
ecosystem of slavery?
they give 10% off. So during the holidays, they would actually extend the employee discount to food. So that was like a nice little bonus, but at the same time, I mean, to give you an idea, when I was working at Walmart, I honestly hated going to work every day. I woke up one day and decided that I couldn't do it anymore, and it took them a month to fire me.
I worked at Walmart for
You just bailed and you never went back?
about a year and a half.
I no called, no showed during COVID.
I don't think that's a cool thing to do, though.
Well, part of it was I had been talking to management and trying to get things to change, and then management kind of ignored everything that I told them, and things weren't changing, and my manager kind of just bailed on our entire department to begin with, and it felt like every day that I came into work, I just I couldn't do it anymore. So I instead of going to Walmart and being miserable every day, I instead slept in, played Fallout 76, and then worked my second job that I had, where I was working at Dollar General, and I was looking for another job, and thankfully I did find another job that paid even more than what I was making at Walmart.
Okay, but we talked earlier about how corporations screw over the workers. It's pretty easy to screw over a corporation too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see,
I remember at Walmart, this autistic girl was really into me, and she she worked in the.
How much was she making?
No, she was very nice, and
Did she have stink lines?
No, she was very cute, but
Stink
you could tell
lines?
she was slow, and she worked in the clothing department, and I was in the electronics, so it was like the Romeo Juliet type story. And I remember her telling me
you could never be together.
she was telling me, "Hey, I like you, but I'm a little slow," and I'm all okay. That both of those things are fine, but I was never into her. Like, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, I guess the workers do have power, even though they don't feel like they do. I mean, you know how easy it is to screw over a bad boss. You just do what Benny did, and you don't show up.
But they'll just replace you.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
easily.
that's basically what they did too. But I don't know. I couldn't do it anymore. It wasn't good. And the thing that I realized is I started hopping from job to job. So from Walmart, I went to working at a place called Sprouts. It's a grocery store, and I went from making $11.73 an hour to making $13.83 an hour. And I mean, I did that job for about 6 months until I got my review, and my manager's like, "Hey, you suck at your job, and we're not giving you a raise." And I was like, "Okay, well, fuck you guys. I'm gonna find something else." And then that's when I started working at Walgreens, and Walgreens was okay for a while.
You were like a quantum leap. You were leaping from job to job, to trying to wait till that last job was.
So thank you for the $2 Grillcast. I posted the link right under yours. So if you want to jump on, feel free. You seem like you have something you want to say.
What is this? He says, "Let me call in you bit thieves. Antiwork is mine. The Grillcast. You can have it." Don't. What is this about?
I have no idea, but let's
Why
see.
can't I hold all this anti-work?
Let's see.
Yeah,
what he has to say.
All right.
I
Hop
hear they
on
have
in.
the internet on computers now.
What?
Sorry.
I used to steal from Walmart too, years ago.
Good.
Yeah.
DVDs.
You stole some autistic girl's heart.
While you were working there, or as an employee, or as a customer?
As an employee.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was involved in a Walmart scam at one point.
You were involved in a Walmart scam?
Yeah, I had a friend who worked at Walmart,
Okay.
and he worked in the. Remember when Walmart used to have oil change locations.
Maybe I don't know.
They still
Not
do.
all of them do. Some of them still do.
Yeah,
They don't do brakes, but they'll do oil changes.
Yeah. So he worked in that department, and I would bring a whole bunch of. I would bring my car in for an oil change, which I paid for. I'm a good citizen, but I would also bring a cartload of stuff to get checked out, and he would just pretend to scan. This was back in the day. He would pretend to scan stuff and just load it in my car, and I would pay for my oil change and maybe 2 things from the cart and drive away, and then we'd split it out later.
I had a
That's
scam
good.
like that. That was a good scam.
It's a good scam.
Listen, man. I got Benny's no call and no show, and I got you robbing the place blind, and I got Lorenzo Areola
Yeah, it didn't work there.
molesting the
Hey, I'm charming
molesting the
them.
help.
I'm a charming person to the autistic community.
You were
Fair
charming
enough.
them with your hands.
I was, but it would never work out. It would
Yes,
never
it's
work
been
out.
7 years, Johnny 1.0.
All
I
right,
guess that's the
so
statute of limitation on stealing from Walmart.
I thought it was 10 years.
No, it's been that too.
Yeah.
I think most things is 7 years. There's no statute of limitation on murders, though.
Ah, shucks.
well, we're killing it tonight.
Yes, yes, we
So,
are.
Cardiff, what is this one you have up on the screen? I can't seem to read it.
So yeah, so this is partner asked if they would be getting paid for a mandatory work meeting on their day off. So it's your day off. There's a meeting. You got to come in. I think you should be paid.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. That's reasonable.
Definitely.
Okay, so will this meeting Monday be paid? Manager says no. The meeting is to discuss the problems in the kitchen, and your question has just shown me that you don't care about the job, and it's just about earning the money. Okay, yeah. I think in most cases it's about earning money, yes. If you're really not bothered about working blank and have no pride in your job, then you might as well say now and save yourself the trouble coming in. So basically saying, if you don't value your job and want to come into this free, come in for free, you might as well just quit now.
I'm going to go ahead and say this is the worst attitude that a manager could have, in my opinion.
I think so. And again, we don't know the history here, but yeah, just on this snapshot,
This idea of, your job is to make sure everything runs smoothly, Mr. Manager, right? Mr. Manager's job is to make sure that the kitchen is running optimally. And in a way, by not paying everybody and then expecting them to put in the same effort or care that he does at a much higher rate is really not realistic. And then when they say, hey, are we getting paid to come in to figure out how we could fix this, and you want to get us on board, and you just immediately shut that down and go, no, you're the problem because you're not as into the job as I am into it, is just shitty. I hate that.
And I'm sure the manager's getting paid for the like if the manager's on salary, the manager's getting paid to be there that day. They're not coming in on their off day. So again, I could see both sides of a lot of these posts, but
He could the manager could have made sure to schedule him to not be there on that meeting, just to catch him in this catch-22. Like, I knew you wouldn't show up if you weren't getting paid. And it's like, well,
again,
no shit.
for a dirty kitchen, I guess. So I have pride in paid work. Fair. Again, I work 8 hours, pay me for 8 hours, and other than that, go fuck yourself. Like that's our relationship ends when I leave, right?
Yeah.
I don't see why I should be required to turn up in my personal time to discuss your problems. Okay. Maybe they're our problems, but yes, okay, fair. Again, personal time. It is standard in all other jobs I've had to have paid training and meetings. And again, I would agree. And your attitude towards staff does make me realize I don't turn up for anything other than to do my job and get paid. I work my hardest while I'm there, and I've got on my hands and knees to clean your restaurant. Get what you pay for at the end of the day. Okay, thanks for your time, and I wish you well in your future. So I guess the manager's taking that as a resignation.
I find that to be a little silly.
Yeah.
That's someone who just is probably a drama to be around in general.
Did you see the video that was posted the other day? I think of like a guy asking their boss for a raise, and the guy just like sits there and shits his pants and threatens to call the police on them.
No, I did not.
Okay,
There's-
well,
There's 2.4 million people in this group. It's hard to keep track. It's hard to stay on top of things.
He
Yeah.
shit his pants, like legitimately
Well,
shit his pants.
When I say shit his pants, I mean like I use that to refer to people who explode and start yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs.
Oh, I thought you meant he shit his pants. I'm like,
No.
oh, that's a viral
No.
video right there.
Okay.
I like to describe people who yell and scream as shitting their pants because that's kind of
All
how
right.
I imagine what's happening.
You should have said that he blew his load.
All right. So we do have another guest in the room. We're gonna bring him on. Lorenzo Areola, Benny. I'm gonna thank you guys for coming on. Benny, especially
Thank you for having me.
This was great.
I
Anything
really
to plug
appreciate it.
before we let you go?
Yeah, plug your
well,
YouTube channel.
I have a YouTube channel. It's Big Ol Bennie 88. You probably won't find it on YouTube because it doesn't like to actually think
Link is
about-
in the description for you.
It is. Oh yes, it is in the description. I really appreciate you guys having me on. I didn't expect that you would let me be on as long as I have been, and hopefully I didn't embarrass myself.
And even if you did, at least as long as you're honest, doesn't matter. We had
Yep.
we had a good chat. So
We
thank
went
you.
subreddit surfing together, Benny. Don't you worry about a thing.
Yes.
Lorenzo, what do you got
Tell
to
your
plug?
friends. Thanks,
I
Benny.
will. Thank you guys.
Thank you all for letting me hijack the stream. YouTube / at Lorenzo Areola, patreon.com Lorenzo Areola. Thank y'all. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys. Sign up for that Patreon. Lots of value there. All right. So we do have the Grillcast. Welcome to the show, the Grillcast.
I cannot hear any of you at all. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you fine.
God damn it, I don't hear a thing. Here, let me refresh it and try again.
All right.
Okay, so this is the guy who called us bit thieves just a few minutes ago
I
for
believe
$2.
so. Yes, I believe so.
What is that? What is he saying
not
we
sure.
stole?
I'm not sure. We'll find out.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we've seen a lot tonight.
Anti-work sucks. That pay I learned nothing tonight.
No. Can you hear us now? The Grillcast.
Okay, so I can't hear either of you, so I just have it.
Makes for great conversation.
No, I can't hear you at all. Unfortunately, that really sucks because I have a lot of anti-work lore to drop. I did a infiltration of one of their Reddit mod talks. I have a lot to go into with that, but I don't know why it's not working on here. The video works just fine, but obviously there's a bit of a delay with that. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, boys. I'll try and refresh again or something, I guess, or I'll try a different browser. That's what I'll do. Here,
Sure.
I'll be right back. We'll try third time. Third time's the charm.
All right.
That's our blind mic.
Who is that?
I don't know. The Grillcast, but he looks like he's
Okay.
wearing tinted glasses. He's our blind mic.
Okay. All
But
right.
yeah, you
fair
were
enough.
saying I've seen a lot of stuff on here. Again, it's I can go from post to post to post, and it's like, yeah, I can agree with this one and this one. Well, this guy's just a lazy fuck, and this next one is like, well, we should be communists. I'm like, well, I don't think that's the solution. We've places have tried that. It didn't work.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Communism, socialism doesn't really work because of humans.
Yes.
All of us want more than we need.
If we were
You know?
algorithms, if we were computers, communism would probably work perfect. Everybody would get what they needed. Everybody would participate, but we're not. We're humans. Some people want more, some people want less.
I feel like anti-work might be a pipe dream.
I think so. I mean, again, some of the posts are really it's not just anti-work, it's just welfare, right? Everybody should just get $80,000 a year and live their life. I'm like, but where does this money come from? How do we move a society forward? Okay, let's try last try on the Grillcast.
All right, I can hear you all perfectly now. What's up? All right,
I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can
Hello?
hear me. Shut up. Shut
Hello?
up, you fucking potato. Hello.
Cardiff, what is it? Cardiff.
I don't know, but
Can
thank
you
you for
fix
the
it?
This is
$5,
cute.
Dr. Steve. Great work, boys. Har, har, har. Thank you.
Hey.
All right, Grillcast, we can hear you.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say big fan of you, Vinny. Creep Off, great show. Cardiff, you're all right
Cowabunga.
too. And yeah, I saw this going on because I messaged you a few days ago.
Wait,
Cardiff.
hold on. I got to add that to my bio. Cardiff, you're all right too. Hold on, that's going right at the top of the Twitter page. Thank you.
It's a high compliment, you know. But look.
Well, let's slow down
So-
a second because you're shot out of a cannon tonight, Grillcast. Nice to
Yeah,
meet
yeah,
you.
yeah.
What am I calling you tonight? What's your name?
Orion.
Nice to meet
from
you,
the
Ro-
Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I also do a show called To Catch a Redditor, the only show in the world dedicated to catching these Redditors in the act of cringe.
Good plug. Please continue.
All right, so I'll continue a little bit. So what I did, I'm very familiar with the Antiwork subreddit. I've actually infiltrated a couple of their mod talks. So what they do is they do this thing called Reddit Talks, where they get their community together and they talk about things ranging from like, my boss is a dick to I hate my dad, just normal Redditor things. And I got in there and I caused some discord and chaos. Get out of here, cat. This is my cat. But she's not part of the show. She's not part of the show. Anyway, to continue. So I infiltrated this mod talk and I got them to all argue with each other about the concept of moderators getting paid for moderating subreddits. Now, this was a very hotly contested subject. Some of them saying things like, that's ridiculous, but most of them saying, yeah, I should get paid for this. I'm sitting here 18 hours a day moderating this subreddit. I don't have a social life. I don't have friends. This is all I have. Why am I not getting paid? And, through that, we've actually discovered a few things. The moderator Discord had a big leak wherein they're all arguing with each other, dogpiling on each other. One of them we found out is definitely a federal agent being paid, by the government to suppress information to the anti-work community. There's just a lot of stuff going on here in anti-work. If you have any questions about the general things that are going on, the going-ons of the community, please go ahead.
Well, you just gave us a lot of information, Orion. So I'm trying to. You infiltrated the meeting of the moderators of this page, and you're saying that you planted the seeds of discord by saying that the moderators should be paid.
Yeah.
And that seems to be kind of antithetical to the whole anti-work thing, right? Or should they? Is that supposed to be in line with what they believe? You think that they should be paid?
So there's kind of two factions in the anti-work community. There's the absolute hardline communist leftists, like the dog walker class is what we call them. They believe that they should get paid simply to exist, that work, is not in and of itself a virtue. And then there's the class of people who are common sense. They just want work reform. They're like, hey, my job sucks. I don't get paid enough. Like, we should maybe unionize or something. So these groups are somewhat at odds with each other. Okay. I would say that most of the moderators fall into the former camp, but the one who leaked the moderator chats to me actually was in the latter camp.
Interesting. So from your overall experience with this page, do the people involved in it know what the fuck they're talking about?
No, they're insane people. They're really removed from reality when it comes down to it. They're people that don't have a lot of other things going on. I would say they really don't have any idea what they're talking about, and that the end result of what they're looking for is for their Reddit movement to become fully automated gay space communism.
So they really are trying to have a movement on this page.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they've been thwarted whenever they try and, go a little bit too far. Like, I'm sure you've seen the Fox News debacle that they went through. I haven't watched the whole thing, this whole episode, so I'm not sure if you've covered that yet. Have you?
I did see. No, we didn't really talk about that, but I did see a lot of that in going through this, and then I had some people suggesting on the subreddit that I have that person on.
They're a ghost. You'll never find them again. They disappeared into the night. Never.
Essentially, one of the founding moderators or one of the original moderators of this subreddit went and did a Fox News interview, and just, for lack of a better way of saying it, looked the fool, and nearly had this subreddit in turmoil for a while because they were just turned the subreddit into a laughingstock based on the performance they had on Fox News. So that's out there. We're not going to watch that, but that's definitely out there.
Ryan, let me ask you this question, my man. You
Shoot.
same question that I asked Benny. From your observations, because it seems to me like you went in this and you just kind of studied this page for what it was, maybe not going in as an idealist, somebody with an open mind. It seems like you have more of a like a Jane Goodall view of this thing, where you're just sitting back and watching it all go down. What, in your opinion, do you think they believe the first steps of this movement that they're trying to push out are? Like, what are they actually trying to do to mobilize and create a reality to this idea of anti-work?
Well, you see, here's the thing about this type of person is that they don't really have a big plan of attack other than I'm going to go on the internet and complain loudly, and then we're going to get a lot of people on the internet doing the same thing, and eventually we can try and pressure some sort of change. That I don't think that there's any in real life activism that's sprouting from this. I don't think that there's any sort of real actual movement. I think that they get the dopamine rushes they need in their brains by just talking about it and feeling smug and superior for having talked about it. I think that's ultimately what they're all about.
Do you feel like maybe this is just a venting sound, a venting sound chamber for everybody, where they all feel better just thinking that they're all in on a more enlightened way?
I mean, that's most of Reddit, yeah. I would say that that's
Okay.
I'd say that that's pretty accurate. And like I said, I think for a lot of them, the venting aspect of it, they fall into that latter class that I mentioned earlier. People that, just have problems with work, or they don't like their jobs. They're not, they're generally not people who are in high or even medium positions. It's a lot of like service workers, people like that. Those are the more normal people. But the
They're
moderator
also the people
class,
who do tend to get dicked around a lot, so I get it.
yeah, maybe deservedly so.
Oh,
They are
I don't know about
Redditors
that.
after all.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. It's funny that a lot of these people in these roles that do get dicked around a lot are generally getting dicked around by managers who were not that long ago in the same position. So it's almost like I got fucked with when I was, down there, and now that I'm a manager, I'm going to fuck with them. Like, it's almost like it's a cycle.
Yeah, it is very cyclical in nature, but you have to understand from the manager's perspective. It's like this person, I saw them on their break scrolling Reddit.com. What am I supposed to do? Just let that go? Just pretend this is a normal person? I don't think so. But maybe that's just steel manning, maybe.
Oh, shit. Thanks for the $5, Vinny's tits.
I was going to make you read that. Yes.
Grillcast is the Serpico of anti-work. That's very funny.
But I will ring the bell. Grillcast, we're going to be wrapping up soon, so thank you for coming on. But I do have one.
Please don't be a
question for
stranger,
you.
Grillcast.
Absolutely.
We'll
No,
get you on another
I love your
episode.
guys. I love your guys' stuff. So I'd absolutely be down to do that. And if you all want to come on my show and catch some Redditors sometime with me, feel free to do that. It'd be a lot of fun.
I'm busy
To
washing
Catch a
Cardiff's hair.
Yes. Did To Catch a Redditor come after To Catch a Dabbler? I need to know.
Okay, it did. Yes. But mine rhymes with predators, so I get a little bit of leeway there, right?
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. So we've borrowed from each other's bits without knowing. Well, you knew, but anyway. My question for you is: do you have a different colored pair of glasses to match your hoodie?
No, actually, these are my
coincidence?
deluxe sunglasses. I should really expand the collection, because if I want the proper drip, you got to color coordinate. That's just common sense. But I will take that into account. I'll take that into account. I'll expand the collection. Next time I'll be in a blue robe with the blue
Oh, it's a robe.
sunglasses.
Sorry, I apologize for accusing you of wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, that's a little beneath me.
We got
maxing
Grill
and
Hefner
relaxing.
over here.
Grill
His Farood robe. This guy's
All
living
right,
large.
Grillcast. What do you want to promote? What's your YouTube? What's your Twitter?
All right,
Where
like
can
I
people
said
find you?
before, the Grillcast, you can find it anywhere you find podcasts. You can find our YouTube channel. We're on the up and up right now. We just hit 1.3K subscribers. Lots of people saying, wow, this is the best thing I've heard in my life. I can't believe this. How did I not live with this for so long?
Vinny was
And,
saying
you
that
know-
earlier today. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. See, Vinny's Vinny's a smart guy. I don't care what everyone says. He's a real intelligent guy. And
Yeah.
so, you know,
Yeah.
come
I'm
watch the
smart.
Grillcast.
Not like people say, Pop.
Exactly. See, exactly. So come find the Grillcast, you know, on YouTube. We do a show to catch your editor, like I said. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself here, so I'll just let you guys continue and end the show. Thanks for having me on.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure, man.
I'll let
Nice
you
to
read
meet
the
you.
super chat for us. Thank you for the $5, Myrtle Manus. Go ahead, Grillcast.
I get me a check from the government. All this anti-work fellers should just get them a check too.
You
From
did a lot
Myrtle
better
Manus.
than I would have. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
Myrtle's really pretty. You think you could get her to
I
100%.
I have Myrtle's number. I think you could get her. All right.
Okay, cool,
Thanks,
cool.
Orion.
Well, hit my DMs with that. All right, peace out, guys.
Have a good night.
Nice meeting you, my man. Cardiff.
Vinny
We did a lot
Paulino.
today.
What
did a
have
lot
we
today.
done today? Oh, no. Carl's going to sue us again. Carl will send a cease and desist if we say what have we
Carl's
done.
never going to get this far into the show
That's true. Unless
unless
he
he's
starts.
reviewing it.
He might start at this point.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another edition of Subreddit Surfing. Today was Antiwork. I don't know if any of these people really know what they're about, but they are definitely opinionated, and they're definitely a little unhappy with their stations in life, it seems.
Yep. I think I've learned there's shit bags on both sides, on management, at the corporations, the employee level. There's shit bags everywhere, but this is definitely an interesting approach. Again, I wish there was you asked Benny, the question. So what's the solution here? And I don't think anyone in this group has a solution that
Cardiff,
could work.
nobody could tell me the first step. Nobody could even
Step
tell me,
one.
like, what are we doing here to get towards this? Do you realize that's, like, to me, the most basic question here? And the only answer I got was education about economics. Well, okay. What does that get me? What does that do to help change the paradigm of the worker versus the employer? What does that do to help make things better?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It lets them know how much they're getting fucked.
I mean,
You can
the reality
do
of
the
this
math
is, here's what I think happens, Cardiff, and you guys could tell me if I'm wrong, and we'll get out of here on this thought. These folks who work in jobs that we would consider to be like these low-level jobs we talked about, retail, working as a server, doing jobs that are just basic manual labor and things like that. The problem is these folks that do unskilled labor get exposed to a lot of shitty managers.
Yep.
And when you get exposed to a lot of shitty managers without a lot of formal education, you get a lot of bad opinions on how things should be done. You handle things with more emotion than you do logic. So I do see where education does come into this, but all around, the answer is everybody just learn to treat each other with respect. If I were to say there's a step one to changing this, that's it.
Yeah, I would say that's good. And again, I made the point earlier. It's a lot of those shitty managers were in those exact positions, probably sometimes months earlier. But yeah, there's no empathy. There's no. Well, I was treated like shit before, and I'm going to do things better. No, it's just continue the shitty cycle. But
And it's very easy in a management position to be jaded to other people's problems.
And to be fair, I don't think there probably isn't. There might be, but there probably isn't a subreddit for I have a great manager. I don't think a lot of people are going to post the great manager stories either. So I'm sure there are some out there, but nobody's writing those reviews.
That is true. That is true. So, folks, before we get out of here tonight, just a big thank you to everybody who sent in super chats tonight.
Thank you.
Do
Adam
we have any
Thoreau
more
for
we need to read?
$4.99. Yeah, one more from Alice Tois, $4.99. Nice work, guys. Thank you very much. And potatoes. Oh, Myrtle. I'll get you to read the last one for Myrtle. Thank you for the $5, Myrtle Manus. Go ahead, Vinny.
I wish old Grillcaster lived in the holler. I'd give him a little bit of old Myrtle love, and I'll tell you that I got to see old Doc Carson, though. I got the drips, don't you know?
Sounds like
Okay.
you spent Christmas in Alabama.
Once or twice, Cardiff. Once or twice. Now, folks, the important business before we leave. Make sure you are subscribed to the official Subreddit Surfing YouTube channel. We would greatly appreciate your support there. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers before we could start going live on that page. And we'd like to kind of turn this into its own thing. Nothing against. We love broadcasting on Cardiff's page. But, this is a little bit of a different animal, and we're looking to branch out. So please make sure you support the show that way. And where could people find the RSS feed, Cardiff?
It's still a work in progress. It's there. It's just not on all platforms yet. I'm still working on it. But yes, definitely go subscribe to the subreddit YouTube channel. That's where all the replays will be. And really the goal behind that is, Vinny wants to get some of these super chats. Right now I'm not sharing with Vinny. So let's get it on the
Cardiff,
subreddit.
you could have the super chats. I'm in this for the experiment and the love of the game, baby. It ain't about the money for Cousin Vinny.
Well, I thank you for that. Way to
But you
pull
should
back
feel
the curtain.
bad.
I thought it was a shoot here, Vinny. Come on.
It's a goddamn work, son.
Fair enough. So there's the link there. Thank you. Insufferable. I've never heard of these guys. Anyway, thanks for posting the link. Insufferable Bastards podcast. Nobody knows who you are, but thank you for posting the link. Go there, subscribe, so we can move this the live stream over there, and then we can get this channel back to what everybody wants it to be: a potato shitting on Stuttering John.
Sooner the better.
Yeah,
Folks, we're going to make this show as good as we can make it. We're going to keep working at it. It's going to get better. So thank you for sticking in there, and we really, really, truly appreciate you. Cowabunga, catch a wave, whatever the fuck we say to end this show.
Surf's up. And yeah, any recommendations? My Twitter's open. There's a Discord channel on the WATP Discord. Find us anywhere. Hit us up. If you got a subreddit you think we should surf, please, we're open to suggestions. So thank you, everybody. Surf's up. Thank you, Mr. Paulino.
Thank you. Good night. Gagia.
Gagia.